Hi, welcome to the Eldritch podcast. My name is Margaret.
I'm Anna.
And this is our guest speaker,
Clare Lamb.
Oh, got the last name there, too.
Dangerous.
Alright,
Anna is going first.
today I will be reading you a short story written by my father, Neil Gaiman.
Anna Gaiman.
It's called Click Clack the Rattlebag. Before you take me up to bed, will you tell me a story? Do you actually need me to take you up to bed? I asked the boy. He thought for a moment. Then, with intense seriousness, yes, actually I think you do. It's because I've finished my homework, and so it's my bedtime, and I'm a bit scared. Not very scared, just a bit. But it is a very big house, and lots of times the lights don't work, and it's sort of dark. I reached over and tousled his hair. I can understand that, I said. It is a very big old house. He nodded. We were in the kitchen, where it was light and warm. I put my magazine on the kitchen table. What kind of story would you like me to tell you? Well, he said thoughtfully, I don't think it should be too scary, because then when I go up to bed, I'll just be thinking about monsters the whole time. But if it isn't just a little bit scary, then I won't be interested. This is us trying to find stories for the podcast. And you make up scary stories, don't you? I know she says that's what you do. She exaggerates. I write stories, yes. Nothing that's been published yet, though. It's an indirect. And I write lots of different kinds of stories. But you do write scary stories? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The boy looked up at me from the shadows by the door, where he was waiting. Why is he already hiding in the shadows?
Because he's scared.
He's being creepy. Do you know any stories about Click Clack the Rattlebag?
Is this like the Brave Little Toaster? Have you seen that?
What is that?
The Brave Little Toaster. It's about inanimate household objects trying to find their boy
I think I watched the sequel.
goes to college. Yeah, there is a sequel.
That's just Toy Story.
It's kind of like Toy Story, but it's got a toaster, a vacuum, a heated blanket,
Wait, is that the
a
one
lamp.
that has a really creepy animation style?
Yes. Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, I've
Something about space, man.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I watched a YouTube video about these cartoons are actually really horrifying or whatever.
Okay, that was a good cartoon though. It's not scary.
Anyway, back to Click Clack the Rattlebag because I'm so intrigued by what that means. Those are the best sorts of stories. Do they tell them at your school? He shrugged. Sometimes. What's a Click Clack the Rattlebag story? Yes, please tell me. He was a precocious child and was unimpressed by his sister's boyfriend's ignorance. Wait, what?
It's pretty hefty info.
Hefty.
Sister's boyfriend's
Ignorance. You could see it on his face. Everybody knows them. I don't, I said, trying not to smile. Is he the sister's boyfriend, like the narrator?
I think he's the sister's brother.
Why can we never figure out what characters are which? This is just like Kyle from the last one.
Kyle and Kyle.
Okay. He looked at... yeah, there was a Kyle child.
Listen to the stories.
He looked at me as if he was trying to decide whether or not I was pulling his leg. He said, I think maybe you should take me up to my bedroom, and then you can tell me a story before I go to sleep. But a very not scary story, because I'll be up in my bedroom then, and it's actually a bit dark up there, too. He is demanding. I said, shall I leave a note for your sister telling her where we are? You can, but you'll hear when they get back. The front door is very slammy.
Slightly.
We walked out of the warm and cozy kitchen into the hallway of the big house, where it was chilly and draughty and dark. I flicked the light switch, but nothing happened. The bulb's gone, the boy said. That always happens.
Where does it go?
It just disappears.
The bulb grows fucking legs and walks out of there.
Our eyes adjusted to the shadows. The moon was almost full, and blue-white moonlight shone in through the high windows on the staircase, down into the hall. We'll be all right, I said. Yes, said the boy soberly. I sure hope he's sober. I'm very glad you're here. He seemed less precocious now. His hand found mine, and he held on to my fingers comfortably, trustingly, as if he'd known me all his life. I felt responsible and adult. Hey, what are you doing?
We're making little signs to each other.
Little
Do you
finger
have a problem?
hearts.
Do you have a
leaving me out of this?
Sorry, just a second.
Okay, he says, I felt responsible and adult. I did not know if the feeling I had for his sister, who was my girlfriend, was love. Not yet. But I liked that the child treated me as one of the family.
So he is the boyfriend.
Yeah, he is. We actually are right.
Nice.
Wow. I felt like his big brother, and I stood taller, and if there was something unsettling about the empty house, I would not have admitted it for worlds. The stairs creaked beneath the threadbare stair carpet. Click-clacks, said the boy, are the best monsters ever. Are they from television? I don't think so. I don't think any people know where they come from. Mostly they come from the dark. Good place for a monster to come. Yes. We walked along the upper corridor in the shadows, walking from patch of moonlight to patch of moonlight. It really was a big house. I wished I had a flashlight. They come from the dark, said the boy, holding onto my hand. I think probably they're made of dark. And they come in when you don't pay attention. That's when they come in. And then they take you back to their, not nest. What's a word that's like nest, but not? House?
What?
This is stupid.
A nest?
A nest is not like a house. No, it's not a house. Lair? He was silent.
Bat cave.
Then I think that's the word, yes. Lair. He squeezed my hand. He stopped talking. Right, so they take the people who don't pay attention back to their lair. And what do they do then, you monsters? Do they suck all the blood out of you like vampires? He snorted. Vampires don't suck all the blood out of you. They only drink a little bit, just to keep them going and, flying around. Click-clacks are much scarier than vampires.
I love that you know this.
This kid is coming for his
Fact
throat.
checking.
I'm not scared of vampires, I told him. Me neither. I'm not scared of vampires either. Do you want to know what click-clacks do? They drink you, said the boy.
What is that supposed to
Drink
mean?
what part of you?
Slurp, slurp.
Slurp what
Okay,
though?
but what about
Blood? What
vampires?
else is there to drink
I'm
in your
just
body?
confused.
Like a Coke? Coke is very bad for you, said the
They
boy.
crack your neck.
I thought you brought up the coke.
No, the character.
Crack your neck.
What?
And your blood starts sizzling like carbonated water.
If you put a tooth in Coke, in the morning it will be dissolved into nothing. That's how bad Coke is for you, and why you must always clean your teeth every night. Again, I came here to be scared. And now I'm learning about how Coke dissolves my teeth. I'd heard the Coke story as a boy.
You'll get
And
used to
have been
dentist.
told as an adult.
This is a horror story for a dentist.
This is a horror story if it's about dentists. Dentists are the real horror story, though. Anyway, he'd heard the Coke story as a boy. He'd been told as an adult that it wasn't true, but was certain that a lie which promoted dental hygiene was a good lie, and I let it pass. Click-clacks drink you, said the boy. First they bite you, and then you go all ishy inside, and all your meat and all your brains and everything except your bones and your skin turns into a wet, milkshakey stuff, and then the click-clacks suck it out through the holes where your eyes used to be. Oh my god.
That's so gross.
Okay, what is it with horror stories and meat? First we got meat ribbons, and now we're just...
Meat.
Now our meat is turning into wet, milkshakey stuff.
What? Well, meat shakes.
Oh my god.
The meat
It's
shake.
like the
Meat
meat
shake.
sweats, but you're just being like consumed by a creature.
Or you're just shaking so uncontrollably from the meat.
That's disgusting, I told him. Did you make it up? We'd reached the last flight of stairs, all the way into the big house. No, he said. I can't believe you kids make up stuff like that. You didn't ask me about the Rattlebag, he said. Ooh, can't wait to find out what that is. Right, what's the Rattlebag?
It's what's left after the meat shake is drunk.
Well, he said, sagely, soberly, a small voice from the darkness beside me. Once you're just bones and skin, they hang you up on a hook and you rattle in the wind.
Oh my
You
god!
were right!
Oh, look
That's
at
so
me.
gross.
So what do these click-clacks look like? Even as I asked him, I wished I could take the question back, leave it unasked. I thought, huge spidery creatures, like the one in the shower that morning. I'm afraid of spiders. You don't say. I was relieved when the boy said, they look like what you aren't expecting, what you aren't paying attention to.
Like what? your professor.
What?
I don't pay attention to my... I'm joking. I'm so joking. They would have my head.
Wow, Margaret.
You'll turn into a rattlebag.
I'll become a rattlebag.
We were climbing wooden steps now. I held onto the railing on my left, held his hand with my right as he walked beside me. It smelled like dust and old wood that high in the house. The boy's tread was certain, though, even though the moonlight was scarce. "Do you know what story you're going to tell me to put me to bed?" he asked. "It doesn't actually have to be scary." "Not really." "Maybe you could tell me about this evening. Tell me what you did?" "That won't make much of a story for you. My girlfriend just moved into a new place on the edge of town." "What, isn't..."
He's talking about his girlfriend who hit the boy as a sister?
"Yeah."
Weird.
"Why wouldn't you say like your sister?" "I don't know, that's weird." "Anyway, she inherited it from an aunt or someone. It's very big and very old. I'm going to spend my first night with her tonight."
Wink,
so
wink.
I've been waiting for an hour or so for her and her housemates to come back with the wine and an Indian takeaway. "See," said the boy. There was that precocious amusement again. "But all kids can be insufferable sometimes when they think they know something you don't. It's probably good for them. You know all that, but you don't think. You just let your brain fill in the gaps." He pushed open the door to the attic room. It was perfectly dark now. Why are they in the attic?
Because it's a spooky story.
Is that where his room is?
Perhaps. Mayhaps.
It was perfectly dark now, but the opening door disturbed the air, and I heard things rattle gently, like dry bones in thin bags in the slight wind.
No.
Click,
Bones and
clack,
bags.
click, clack, like that. I would have pulled away then if I could, but small, firm fingers pulled me forward, unrelentingly, into the dark. So the kid is the click-clack monster.
Because he comes in forms that you don't expect
Yeah,
it to be.
and you don't pay attention to him because he's a stupid kid.
That is crazy.
Wow.
Or maybe he's just wearing his mom's high heels. Click.
His brother is just doing an Irish jig in the attic with the heels on.
Exactly.
All right.
Perfect.
Do you want to go, Claire, or should I go?
Oh, I don't know. I'll take care of it, I guess.
Oh, I don't know.
So, today,
Is there part 2 in that?
there is a part 2.
Oh,
We are getting our source material from
Make sure you give them credit.
good old trusty Wattpad.
That's a real horror.
Let me see. The author
Horror
is
one-shots.
boytoy_Cass. So, here we go. The Forest, Part 1. Around 11 at night, you start walking home from the pub.
Oh god, it's a YN thing.
It is. The bartender let you have a few too many drinks.
Uh-oh.
The
I'm
stench of-
underage.
We all are. The stench of alcohol is on your breath. Your throat is still stinging. You got into a fight with a few thugs. Probably not the best decision you've made. What? Your eye stings. Your lip is split and bleeding. You have a few bruises here and there. The whole thing went by so fast for you. 1 minute you were flirting with some brunette with your drunk pride. The next thing you knew, you were getting your face smashed into a table. Jesus Christ.
Herb stomped.
A few crumbs from some crackers and peanuts still on your face. That's not a sentence. The cool night breeze hitting your open cuts, making you cringe. Only a few cars drive by you on your walk. There's a song stuck in your head, one of those annoying pop songs. You can't help yourself, so you end up humming it.
Sounds like the girls in the shower.
Oh my god. That was so stupid. You stumble a few times while walking down the street. Everything is blurry and a headache is kicking in. It's a full-on migraine by this time. You know, this would be great material for our school to use at, like, alcohol presentations.
Yeah.
Be like, this is gonna be you. You're
Instead
gonna
of-
hit on a brunette and then you're gonna die.
Then you're gonna get your face smashed in. Like, instead of having us make the caption for that poster, we just have to read a YN story about getting drunk.
That'd be so much more interesting.
You decide to take a different street home. You take a, quote, shortcut to get to your house. There's a buzzing in your pocket. You ignore it for the first 3 times. It seems like forever. The buzzing finally stops. Okay, that's when you decide to check it. When you pull it out, the sudden brightness makes you hiss.
What are you, a snake?
Are you a 8th grade emo?
You squint to see what time it is. It's blurry, but you make it out. 1:43. Have I really been walking out here for 2 hours, you think to yourself?
What? That's not a shortcut.
Well, you did
It's
get
a long cut.
beaten
Oh
up.
yeah, we have to factor in the time when he was getting his nose smashed to a pulp.
Yeah. You think to yourself. You look around. You don't recognize anything about you. Oh, around you. I was like, what?
That's me looking in the mirror.
There's been at least 10 missed calls and 5 texts. So that's what all that buzzing was. There's some footsteps coming from somewhere. You turn around to see it's those thugs. You pull up your jacket and walk in the shadows.
Pull up your jacket?
Yeah. Hoping for the best. You halt when you feel 2 firm hands on your shoulders pulling you back.
Oink.
Oh dear.
Maybe he's wearing his jacket
Oh
like a pair of
no,
pants.
I'm like reading ahead, but I really wish I wasn't. It's getting bad.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you hit your head on the concrete, which doesn't help you.
Where's
your
the concrete in
migraine.
a forest?
They're not in the
They're not in
forest.
the forest
sorry.
yet.
Not yet. Never mind,
When you
never
look up,
mind.
there's a thug standing right above you. He and his buddies start zipping. Start laughing before you hear a zip. Excuse me, it's gonna get gross.
Oh no.
You look down and notice it's your own zipper to your skinny jeans.
Skinny
Is this a
jeans.
girl?
Oh, that's what it says. Oh, your legs are
see.
cold and your pants are getting pulled down your legs to your ankles.
No. But they're skinny jeans. That's not possible.
No! Next thing you know, you are being pinned up against a wall.
No.
Bugs breathe close enough to where you can smell the alcohol. Hey, sweet thing. We're gonna make you pay for that slap on my girl's ass earlier.
What,
Nobody
the
gets away
brunette?
with something like that.
Wait, is this a guy or a girl?
I don't
know.
know.
Skinny jeans are technically, gender neutral.
Yeah.
You squirm to try to get away from his grip. You know what's coming next, and you don't want to be a part of it. Right when his grip loosens just a bit, you make your move. You pull your pants up quick.
That should be your first move.
and then you kick
Defense
him right where no
101.
man wants to be kicked. In the heart. No, it doesn't say that. He hunches over, and that's when you knee him in the stomach.
Double hit.
Oh, yikes.
KO.
Before his friends could grab you, you booked it, not looking back, just running as fast as your legs could go. You heard them yelling, but you kept running. You ran away a few blocks, and that's when they caught up to you.
They caught up.
They
It's
were in
'cause
a
he's wearing
black
skinny
car.
jeans.
They were in a black car. You don't know what kind. Okay. One of them was running down the street after and tackled you. Your face was the first thing that landed on the ground.
Wait, what about your feet?
All the cuts that were somewhat closing opened all at once. Your lip tore open and you could feel the blood spilling down your chin and soaking your shirt. Your eye wasn't any better. It hurt really bad and felt like it was going to burst or something.
Ew.
You screamed at the pain and was turned around by firm hands and dragged by your arms into the car.
What's the obsession with firm hands?
Firm hands.
Someone just wants a massage.
Oh, me. I need to go to the chiropractor. It was a roomy car. Big black seat. Metal booming in through the speakers.
Heavy metal?
I guess. You were
Sounds
squeezed
like a
in the back
certain
seat between 2 thugs. The whole car smelled of something strong. You couldn't figure out what it was
Weed.
at first until it hit you. Weed.
I was right.
You felt like you were going to die if someone didn't roll down the window.
That was me on the school bus every day in high school.
Oh, God. Just walking past the freshman dorms that one day, and someone's like, I wonder what that smell is. And I'm like,
Weed.
it's weed. Marijuana.
Wait, which dorms?
Our dorms.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It smelled so strongly of ass when we went outside.
It's
so
the
bad.
weekend. It's the weekend.
Finally. Well, people are getting ass on the weekend. Let's be... Anyways. Finally, the driver did, and kept it open long enough for the smell to somewhat go away. You look down at your hands. They were tied up. You
When
look
did that
over to your
happen?
left to one of the guys. He's looking at his lap. Since it was dark in the car, you couldn't really see any details. All you saw that he was ginger and he had a tattoo on his hand.
That's
You
pretty
can see that
detailed.
he's ginger in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah, other one to your right is looking out of the window, even though it's tinted. That thug has brown hair and gauges.
Oh.
I feel like this is how we're going to have our characterization, so we'll know who's who. Wow.
Gage is ginger.
He grabs him by the holes in his ears.
No,
and
you.
whips him around.
You feel a hand on your thigh. And
Ew.
you flinch. You look down and see the hand of the ginger is making its way up your thigh. Such
Stop.
a delicate thing, isn't it? Not every night we get something like this.
What is he
That's
talking?
gay.
Is he
I
just...
know. The driver set over the metal music playing. Everyone's starting chuckling behind you, of course. The one that was looking out the window asked quickly, "Can we keep this one, at least for tonight? Huh?
What?
Can we?" It all went quiet. Nobody talked. Only Whitechapel could be heard.
Whitechapel?
Okay. Suddenly the car stopped. And that's the end of that installment. So I'm assuming the reason they don't have a gender is it's because of your name.
Uh-huh.
So like...
Oh, but I've just been
it's
imagining a guy.
It
this
has
whole
to be a
time.
guy because
Skinny jeans.
because it needs to be gay.
Skinny jeans.
Okay,
The forest.
part 2.
2.
The car stopped. The thugs in the front seat got out of the car. The thug that's brunette got dragged out of the car seconds later.
Fuck, that's brunette.
Next thing you knew, the guy was being beaten. First, the driver thug took off his leather belt.
Uh-oh.
No, he
Kinky.
whipped him with his belt a few times.
Wait, YN or just his fellow thug?
Fellow thug.
Why are they turning against each
I
other?
don't know.
They just
Oh my
have a
God.
thing for
You
beating
can
each
tell
other
it was
up.
on bare
Stop.
skin because of the loud whack.
Ew.
Next, the thug.
Stop. No.
Kapoo!
Next, the thug that was sitting in the passenger seat kicked him in the stomach. You finished him off by punching him right in the nose. Clearly, I can't read.
Wait, we finished him off?
He finished him
Oh.
off. A few minutes later, they both got into the car again. You could hear the thug outside the car start to groan. Before he could open the door, the driver put the car into reverse.
Uh-oh.
Then, with the beaten thug in the headlights, the driver put the car into drive.
He's gonna turn into a 3-foot
hit
wide
him.
smear.
With the car.
3-foot wide smear.
The thug must have at least landed a few feet from where he was before. The driver continued to do this a few more times before getting out of the car again.
Good God.
He walked up to the beaten thug and spat on him.
That's a little much.
After spitting on him, he just walked back into the car and drove off.
Wait, so that was Gage's thug, right?
I have no idea.
Uh-oh.
You felt the ginger squeeze your thigh with his hand. Well,
The
it's not
ginger
ginger.
is just really horny.
Since there was more room in the back seat, you moved away from him towards the window. He grabbed your leg and pulled it towards him, causing you to hit your head on the window.
Ouch!
How does that work, though?
He's
The
just
window's in the
yanking
opposite
the-
direction.
Yeah.
Yoink the leg out of its socket.
When your eyes met his, he pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed you in the leg.
So uncalled for.
Romantic.
Oh my gosh.
Romantic dinner date
What
with a...
kink is that? I don't remember.
Like thigh stabbing kink.
Well, okay, whatever. The pain was excruciating. You screamed as he pulled the knife back out. He simply just wiped it on his shirt and put it back in his pocket.
In a pocket without a little knife holder?
What the fuck is going on back there? I thought I told you not to do anything. Do you want to end up like Logan?
Logan! His name is Logan.
At this point, the music was turned off. Well, that's important. Okay.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Metal music is
Imagine
going.
like you get kidnapped and there's metal music playing in the car. I would just instantly die.
Too intense, man.
Eye contact with the wrong person, just stab you. He's just shy, okay?
He's a ginger.
You continued to scream. You somehow managed to kick the ginger in the head.
What?
He did not like that one bit. He quickly pulled out the knife again and put it up to your throat.
He's
At
going
that
for the
moment-
throat this time.
At that moment, the car stopped
Upgrade.
immediately. The driver got out and pulled the ginger out of the car. He dropped the knife on the floor, just missing your throat. Now you listen here. Okay, but let's think about this. If he stops the car immediately, he's holding the knife, you're gonna get sliced.
You're gonna get T-boned by the knife.
What?
That's not that they teach you in driving.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I just read ahead.
Does he get run over?
No.
Oh.
I don't know. At that moment, the car stopped immediately. The driver got out and pulled the ginger out of the car. He dropped the knife on the floor, just missing her throat. Now listen here. I will blow that ginger head of yours open on the side of the street. Right here, right now. So calm the fuck down. Do you understand me, Jimmy? Jimmy!
No.
Jimmy.
Okay, wait. But if he kills the ginger, they're just gonna be leaving a trail of dead bodies. First Logan and now Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. Where are they? Are they still in the streets?
They're in the streets.
Or are they in the forest yet?
I think they're in the streets.
I don't know.
Is there even a forest?
I don't know.
It's a metaphor.
With every word, his voice got higher. He pulled out a pistol and put it to the ginger's head.
No, not Jimmy.
Without another word, the gun went off.
What?
The driver got back in his seat and shortly, the ginger did the same.
Who's going to touch
Wait, I thought
your
the ginger
leg?
died.
What?
No, the ginger got his head blown off.
The blood from your leg had already soaked your jeans. You'd managed to pick up the knife while they were out of the car. The knife was already starting to cut two rope that was around your wrists. When you finally got the rope cut, you just kept the knife between your legs. The ginger punched the cut on your leg while you screamed once again.
Wait,
Ouch.
the ginger is dead?
Okay, well, he got shot in the head, but he's still alive.
Yeah, he got shot in the head and then he got back in the car.
What the fuck?
I don't know what's going on there.
The driver made a sharp turn onto a dark road.
Oh, here's the forest.
And he stopped the car, cocked his gun, and shot the ginger in the head.
Again?
Oh, he must have done a warning shot or something.
Wait, this man
must
just
have-
got shot in the head twice.
No, he must have done a warning shot, not at his head. Or something.
In the direction of his head?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He shot the ginger in the head. Okay. Blood splattered all over the back window, and that's when his body fell onto yours. Ugh.
Ew. Inside the car?
Yeah.
Not on my blood jeans.
Blood veins.
I don't want to see them.
You squirmed underneath his body, trying to make it fall off. The driver and the thug in the passenger seat get out of the car at the same time. They walked away from the car, into a building. You took your opportunity to get out of the car. You quickly unlocked the car and rolled out. You landed on your leg, but you didn't scream this
Which
time.
one? You have two legs.
But
one
you
of them
didn't
is hurt.
scream this time.
He's evolving from
He's like,
a pussy.
I don't care. Yeah. The closest place to run to was the forest.
That's
Every
not
few
a good
minutes,
place.
you would have to lean against a tree. But other than that, you went deeper and deeper into the forest.
Wink, wink.
The deeper you went, the darker it got. After what felt like forever of running, you decide to sit down against a tree. You pull out your phone, surprised it still works. You try to call 911, but you have no bars.
Oh, of course.
no.
Oh,
You
come
get
on.
bars.
Right now, when I really, really need to call the police, I can't.
I guess you could say
how
he didn't meet the bar.
coincidence.
I guess you could say he didn't meet the bar.
At that moment, you decide to get up and run again. But this time you hear something making you stop in your tracks. There's some crunching coming from somewhere. It might be a Sucks car wash.
Jimmy.
No, it might be an animal.
Jimmy eating some chips.
But there's also the chance of those thugs coming to get you. After the crunching sound goes away, you decide to check the time. It's now 5:26.
Why isn't the sun out yet?
Fuck! If I get lost in these woods, I'm gonna go crazy. I just hope I don't find a cabin.
What?
I'm
Is that
gonna check
YN
if there's a part
speaking?
3.
Is there a part 3?
How many parts are there?
That's all I saw. There's one called Suicide Tree, but I would assume that's not the same because it's not part 3.
But is it in the forest?
Well, we'll have to see.
Well, let me just click on it quick. That might be the end. Yeah, that's the end. This one. You plan to meet your girlfriend in a field in a few hours. So I think we're done here.
That was it?
That concludes.
I hope I don't.
Am I
find
gonna
a
get
can.
killed by a thug? Jimmy?
Eating chips.
An animal? Am I gonna find a cabin?
Oh, even
Or am I
worse.
just gonna go crazy? Am I just gonna go hog wild, absolutely feral in these woods right now?
Thank you, boy toy.
Thank you. Please finish. We want to know.
And that is all from Claire.
All right. This story is from quotive.com by somebody named Lily. Let's see, her username is NAF artist, as in Five Nights at Freddy's artist.
And it says scary stories, and story is spelled STORY''S.
Yes.
So we're really getting the cream of the crop with this one.
The creamiest.
The creamiest of the crop.
All right. This is called The Nursery.
Oh, dear.
Abby had moved into her new house on a peaceful street with her adopted baby Lucy. The house was big enough for the both of them. Decor was all around, giving the once cold house a warm touch. Abby cared for Lucy as if she were her own, in which she spared no expense of giving Lucy a luxury nursery.
It's a baby, dude.
It's like a golden rattle and like a couple of, like a deep bathtub.
Gold-plated diapers.
Oh my god.
Pacifiers made of china.
That would hurt.
I know.
The wallpaper was soft pastel colors. The cot was large, not intended for babies. Babies Lucy's age. However, despite all of the warm and inviting colors of the nursery, a cold mist always seemed to linger around at night.
Oh my god.
The cold air was like that of a winter breeze.
A winter's breeze.
Like snow was falling heavily even though it was in the middle of summer. Abby was concerned that the drop in warmth in the nursery would affect Lucy in some way. So in case, she moved the cot into her bedroom. What was strange was how Lucy's room always felt cold. Not as cold as Lucy's nursery had been, just cold. After a while, Abby moved Lucy back to her nursery. On the first night, she left a baby monitor on the changing table in the nursery. Around 10 p.m., Abby woke up in the cold sweat, and she had heard something fall over in the next room, followed by a loud static on the baby monitor.
No.
She quickly paste into the nursery. What she saw shocked her. Lucy was fast asleep. Yes, but the baby monitor was lying face down on the floor. Glitching. The window was wide open.
Baby snatcher.
The curtains blowing like wildfire. Maybe this is like the labyrinth. She knew she didn't open the window. Why would she? The air was cold enough to keep anyone cool on hot summers like this. Abby quickly closed the window, placed the baby monitor back in place, and retreated to her room. But she didn't go to sleep. Instead, she stood up, staring blankly at the baby monitor, checking on Lucy every so often. Every so often?
Often-ish, basically.
In the morning, Abby proceeded to get Lucy out of the room as fast as possible. She knew something was off. She just knew there was. She spelled there as THEIR.
It's just all we can expect at this point.
After telling a friend what had happened, her friend suggested leaving the baby monitor in there, also spelled THEIR, and putting up cameras. Abby laughed at this idea, thinking it was a joke, but her friend seemed serious. Reluctantly, Abby proceeded to add cameras that a neighbor had lent, L-E-A-N-T, up in the corners of the nursery.
Sad.
Once again, it was 10 p.m. She heard a loud thump, and then Lucy's cries echoed the halls. Abby ran to the nursery to say she was scared. What would be the biggest understatement ever? Lucy had immediately stopped crying. Crying.
That's how you know she's crying really hard.
Crying. And then, standing up, facing Abby, the monitor was on the floor once again. The window was open, its silk curtains spiraling with two L's, out of control. Abby felt uneasy. as Lucy continued to stare at her. She froze as Lucy slowly lifted up her arm, pointing behind Abby. What kind of baby knows? Abby didn't care anymore. She grabbed Lucy and ran back to her bedroom, placing Lucy on the bed. Abby locked the door and began to step back. As she heard slow scratching noises like a cat or dog scratching at a closed door.
It's the baby.
That was even more unnerving. What was even more unnerving was how Abby didn't have any type of pet. Well, okay. Lucy fell asleep on the bed, but Abby couldn't sleep. How could she? Someone or something was inside her house. I just read that as inside her. Trying to get into the room. She left her phone in the living room so she couldn't call the police or anything.
Smart.
Abby's luck got worse. The baby monitor made a loud static and movement could be heard as if someone was picking it up. Oh, Abby, a hoarse, scratchy voice mumbled. I will find a way in. Abby's heart stopped. She was paralyzed with fear.
Sounds like she just fucking died. That's what it sounds like. Her heart stops. She's paralyzed because she's dead.
She can't move anymore because
Sorry,
she died.
Lucy. She slowly walked over to the wardrobe, digging to the back of it. She pulled out a large baseball bat. Her nephew had been round with his parents, helping her unpack, and he accidentally forgot his baseball bat. Who just brings a baseball bat with them?
Obviously, someone who likes baseball.
Just put it in your pocket and bring it with you anywhere. She sat on the bed, cradling Lucy in her arms, the baseball bat next to them, ready to use.
Ready for use? What?
Abby was relieved when morning came. As soon as the sun began to shine, Abby checked the videotape footage from the recently added cameras. 7 p.m. Nothing out of the ordinary. 8 p.m. Abby walks in, picks up Lucy, and walks out. Before she exits the premises, she turned to the camera. Her face was ghostly white without any emotions, but her eyes were completely white. Abby knew that wasn't her at the time. She was finishing work downstairs. Abby kept on watching. The camera glitched and Lucy was back in her cot. Windows swung open, the immense force knocking the baby monitor off the changing table.
Stable. She's
I mean, if it's a mini horse.
Horse girl.
9:50 p.m. Lucy slowly began to sit up and then stand up. This is a baby. Babies can't really stand.
She's being possessed.
I wish somebody would possess my niece so she could stand up. I'd love to go on walks with her. Be so much. I'm so joking. I love her. Abby knew it's 9:50 p.m. She stood up, slowly turning to the doorway. 10 p.m. Abby came in, froze, picked up Lucy, and ran. The baby monitor flips over at 11:15 as an echoing voice repeats the words, and baby monitor was spoken. Oh, Abby, I'll find a way in. Safe to say, Abby did not hesitate to leave that house. Abby was staying in a hotel room. Lucy was sitting on the bed. And whilst Abby brushed her teeth in the bathroom, she almost choked when he heard a soft yet scratchy voice say, I told you I would find a way in. Just as the voice repeats that sentence, the bathroom door slowly creaks open. The end.
That's the end? Oh my god.
It was, what is her relationship to Lucy?
Adopted mother, single mother, adopted mother.
What if it was her actual mother, like her?
Who would go
Her
through
actual
adoption?
mother is the one who's like, I'll find a way in.
Yeah, she's like, I'll find my daughter.
You can't take her away from me.
She's mine.
That's my horse baby.
I love her. Ooh.
My horse baby. All right.
No oohs here.
Do you think this episode could be 45 minutes long?
Well, I found an urban legend.
Cool.
I can
That
read.
reminds me of a very specific episode of Bones when the
Oh god, I love Bones.
yeah there's this
With
one
the moms?
episode where Temperance goes back to her old high school and there's like an urban legend that some guy comes and like barbecues the ribs of like female victims or something.
Sounds tasty.
But the whole thing, like, it ended because these like 3 girls made it happen, like turned the legend or the urban legend into something real because they wanted to
Get barbecued?
They wanted to date the same guy. 3 of them did. So they killed the one. And then they're like, we can share him. And so
Gross.
one of the girls dies because the other decides it's her time to have him.
That is a perfectly rational
sharing
way.
Sharing is caring.
Barbecue.
This is what they teach you in kindergarten.
Tips for girls, just girly things. If you're all fighting over the same man, just barbecue each other, and the winner is the one who gets him.
And the barbecued.
And the barbecue. You get to have a boyfriend and a nice meal.
You can share it together.
Sharing is caring.
First date tips. Barbecue girl.
Barbecue your competition.
I bet it's really
I
tender.
found it's about black-eyed children. Have you heard of this one?
Do you have something against black-eyed people?
I hate the black-eyed peas.
You just meant black children, and I was like, what are we talking about?
Well, okay, I personally hate the black-eyed peas, so... Anyway, okay, the legend. Black-eyed children, or black-eyed kids, is an urban legend about strange kids with eyes that are completely black who accost people late at night and demand help. It's me telling my mom I threw up in the middle of the night.
The Reeves one. Oh gosh.
Some people believe they're evil creatures in disguise, and others believe they're aliens. That excites me.
In what way?
I love aliens.
Okay.
I'm looking for an alien husband. Anywho.
Applications?
Open. The urban legend began in 1996 when a man named Brian Bethel from Abilene, Texas, claimed he had an encounter with 2 very strange children. One night, he was getting into his car, which was parked outside a movie theater, when 2 young boys approached and knocked on his window. The man rolled down his window, but he got the strangest feeling that something wasn't quite right. "Hey, mister, we have a problem," said the older boy in a calm voice. "You see, my friend and I want to see the films, but we forgot our money. We need to go to our house to get it. Want to help us out?" There was something about the 2 pale boys that scared the man, and he hesitated. "Come on, mister, let us in. We can't get in your car until you do, you know," the boy said
What?
soothingly. "Just let us in and we'll be gone before you know it.
Come on.
We'll go to our mother's house." For the first time, the man noticed their eyes. He's not very observant, is he? They were as black as coal. There was no pupil and no iris, just 2 completely black eyes. As if sensing the man's unease, the boy said, "Come on, mister, we won't hurt you. You have to let us in. We don't have a gun."
We don't have a gun.
The man was frightened and threw the car into reverse. I, too, get intimidated by small children. The boy shouted, "We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in." The man drove off, but when he looked back, he saw that the boys were gone and the sidewalk outside the movie theater was deserted. Oh, the story was originally posted on a website called Obi-Wan's UFO Free Paranormal page.
Okay.
Obi-Wan is out here seeing UFOs. All of the encounters seem to take place at night when the person is alone in their home or in their car. The children's faces are usually partially obscured by hoodies or hats, and the people report a strange sense of unease or foreboding. When the people notice their black eyes, the children become insistent and aggressive, and when they can't get into the house or car, they mysteriously disappear. I want to know what happens when they do get in the house or car.
Is that it?
That was it.
It's a real one?
I don't know.
Here's another one.
Wait, this is the man. Yeah, this is the man's claim. He said that happened, like, for real, in 1996.
That's so weird.
It
Okay.
is weird.
This is called Spooky Scary Stories by Wild Swan on Quotive also. Her username is Shooting Star 34. So let's pick a story from this story section.
That is a story.
I don't know.
Oh.
We can do.
Whoa, there's a lot.
Oh, there's a big one that's just
Question mark.
all question marks.
Oh. What's the Russian sleep experiment?
That's for classic. You should. Yeah, let's read it. Okay. I've already messed it up. Russian researchers in the late 1940s kept 5 people awake for 15 days using an experimental gas-based stimulant. This is like me in college trying to function.
I can't even stay awake for a whole day.
I can't stay asleep for like 4 hours at a time. They were kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake so the gas didn't kill them. Since it was toxic in high concentrations...
But that doesn't... How did they get this approved?
It's Russia in the 1940s.
I see. Good.
And they're researchers. They can do whatever the fuck they want. This was before closed-circuit cameras, so they had only microphones and 5-inch thick glass porthole-sized windows.
Those are just my glasses.
They have porthole size
into the chamber to monitor them. The chamber was stocked with books, cots to sleep on, but no bedding, running water and a toilet, and enough dried food to last them all 5 of them for a month. The test subjects were political prisoners deemed enemies in the state of during World War II. This takes place... Oh, this is the late 1940s.
That's what you get for being an enemy of the state.
That's what you get. You don't get enough sleep.
By the Russians.
No sleep for you. But you get... Sorry. Everything was fine for the first 5 days. The subjects hardly complained, having been promised, falsely, that they would be freed if they submitted to the test and did not sleep for 30 days.
So they're lied to?
I don't know if they honestly expect them to survive.
Lying is a sin.
Being Russian is... I'm just joking. I'm so joking.
Finish the sentence, Margaret.
No. I mean, did you see that season of Stranger Things?
Oh my god.
Yikes.
The Red Scare.
Oof.
Arthur Miller had it.
Okay, it was a good season.
It was a
was.
good season.
Okay. Their conversations and activities were monitored, and it was noted that they continued to talk about increasingly traumatic incidents from their past, and the general tone of their conversations took a darker aspect after the 4-day mark.
Interesting.
4 days. After 5 days, they started to complain about the circumstances and events that led them to where they were, and started to demonstrate several severe paranoia. So, like, they're complaining because they got caught by the Russians. Man, I just wish I could see my family again. Oh, darn. Like, kick a rock. I'm so sad. They stopped talking to each other and began alternatively whispering to the microphones and one-way mirrored potholes. Portholes. Sorry. This isn't college. This isn't college.
They just start making potholes to cure their boredom.
Oddly, they all seemed to think they could win the trust of the experimenters by turning over their comrades. The other subjects in captivity with them. At first, the researchers suspected this was an effect of the gas itself. After 9 days, the first of them started screaming.
Oh.
He ran the length of the chamber, repeatedly yelling at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight. He continued attempting to scream, but he was only able to produce occasional squeaks.
Oh my god. That's awful.
It's like a person running back and forth, like, The researchers postulated it's like I'm wearing squeaky shoes, like basketball shoes.
They've got a little rubber chicken.
Kohl's, in a Kohl's, like, you know, the floors and like Kohl's department stores and stuff.
And
it's like squeak, squeak, squeak. I don't know.
Kohl's is the only place for your shoes squeak.
Well, they squeak my shoes.
Coles really squeaks my shoes, if you know what I mean.
The most surprising thing about this behavior is how the other captives reacted to it. Or rather, didn't react to it.
Oh, are they all in the same room?
Yep. They continued whispering to the microphones until the second of the captives started to scream. The two non-screaming captives took the books apart, smearing page after page with their own feces and pasted them calmly over the glass portholes.
Oh god! So they have to see the the shit side of the book pages.
Read this, you fuckers. The smearing promptly stopped. Okay, but honestly, what good is it that the books are probably in Russian? You don't know Russian.
Yeah, so the only logical thing to do is just smear your own feces on the book pages and paste
Otherwise, they wouldn't adhese.
Adhere.
So the whispering to the mic. So did the whispering of the microphones. After 3 more days passed, the researchers checked the microphones hourly to make sure they were working. Since they thought it was impossible, so no sound could be coming with 5 people inside. The oxygen consumption in the chamber indicated that all 5 must be alive. In fact, it was the amount of oxygen 5 people would consume at a very heavy level of strenuous exercise. Are they all running back and forth?
No, they just have extra oxygen.
On the morning of the 14th day, the researchers did something they said they would not do to get a reaction from the captives. They used the intercom inside the chamber, hoping to provoke any response from the captives. They were afraid they were dead, or even worse, vegetables.
Not vegetables.
I don't like my carrots.
Miss me with that broccoli shit.
They announced, "We are opening the chamber to test the microphones. Step away from the door and lie flat on the floor, or you'll be shot."
Jesus.
What are you gonna do? Take away my feces pages?
Compliance. Gonna take away my shit book?
Got nothing to lose, man.
Go ahead, touch it. Pick it up.
Compliance will earn one of you, your immediate freedom.
Freedom.
Ja, freedom will be granted.
Give me your freedom. I'm sorry.
Debate broke out amongst the researchers and the military forces funding the research. Unable to provoke any more response using the intercom, it was finally decided to open the chamber at midnight on the 15th day.
Why midnight?
Why not? The chamber was flushed of the stimulant gas and filled with fresh air, and immediately voices from the microphones began to object. 3 different voices began begging, as if pleading for the life of loved ones, to turn the gas back on.
Why did they want the gas?
Give me some of that.
Sweet gas.
That juice.
So, did the soldiers... wait. They began to... The chamber was open and soldiers went to retrieve the test subjects. They began to scream louder than ever. So did the soldiers when they saw that was inside. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, although no one could rightly call the state that any of them were in life. Could rightly call the state that any of them, I don't know, they're not living, basically.
Wait, okay, so the 5th one is just dead? Like, homie's just dead?
I don't know. Maybe he's... Oh, the food rations past day 5 had not been touched. There were chunks of meat from the dead test subject's thighs and chest stuffed into the drain in the center of the chamber.
Imagine your
blocking the drain
being shoved into a drain.
Ew.
No, it's chest stuffed
and
into the
thigh.
drain. No, the thigh was
Just chilling.
Oh no, both of those pieces.
They're both just jammed in there.
Blocking the drain and allowing 4 inches of water to accumulate on the floor.
Ew.
Precisely how much water on the floor was actually blood. Precisely
And urine.
was never determined. All 4 surviving test subjects also had large portions of muscle and skin torn away from their bodies.
How did
The
they
destruction of flesh and exposed bones on their fingertips indicated that their wounds were inflicted by hand, not with teeth, as the researchers initially thought. Closer examination of the position and angles of wounds indicated, that most, if not all of them, were self-inflicted.
That's the tea.
The abominable organs below the rib cage of all 4 test subjects had been removed.
How are they still alive?
While the heart, lungs, and diaphragm remained in place, the skin and most of the muscles attached to the ribs had been ripped off, exposing the lungs through the rib cage. All of the blood vessels and organs remained intact, and they had just been taken out to lay on the floor.
What?
Fanning out on the eviscerated but still living bodies of the subjects. The digestive tract of all 4 men could be seen working, digesting food. It quickly became apparent that they were digesting was their own flesh, and they had ripped off and eaten over the course of days.
Excuse me. This is sick. Excuse me.
Like good sick and bad sick.
Most
I'm
of the
gonna be
soldiers
sick.
were Russian special operatives at the facility, but still many refused to return to their chamber to remove the test subjects. They continued to scream to be left in the chamber and alternatively begged and demanded that the gas be turned on, lest they fell asleep. To everyone's surprise, the test subjects put up a fierce fight in the process of being removed from the chamber. One of the Russian soldiers died from having his throat ripped out. Another was gravely injured and having his testicles ripped off and an artery in his leg severed by one of the subject's teeth.
Ew.
Another 5 of the soldiers lost their lives, if you count ones that committed suicide in the weeks following from the incident.
Jesus H. Christ.
In the struggle, one of our 4 living subjects had his spleen ruptured as he bled out almost immediately. The medical researchers attempted to sedate him, but this proved impossible. He was injected with more than 10 times the human dose of morphine, and still fought like a cornered animal, beating the ribs and arms of one of the doctors. When heart was seen to beat for 2 minutes after he had bled out to the point where there was more air in his vascular system than blood.
So he's dead and his heart is still beating? Oh my god.
Even after it stopped, he continued to scream and flail for another 3 minutes, struggling to attack anyone in reach and just repeating the word more over and over, weaker and weaker until he finally fell silent.
That's fucked.
The surviving 3 test subjects
opinion.
were heavily restrained and moved to a facility with the 2 intact vocal cords, continuously begging for gas and demanding to be kept awake.
So why don't they want to fall asleep?
Because they're playing video games. They are all named Kyle. The most injured of the 3 was taken to the only surgical operating room in the facility. In the process of preparing the subject to have his organs placed back within his body, it was found that he was effectively immune to the sedative that they had given him to prepare him for surgery. He fought furiously against his restraints, and when the anesthetic gas was brought to him, put him under, he managed to tear most of the way through a 4-inch wide leather strap on one waist.
So he's just superhuman now?
Even though his weight of 200-pound soldier holding at his wrist, that wrist as well, it only took a little more anesthetic than normal to put him under. The instant his eyelids fluttered and closed, his heart stopped.
What? Oh, so they just die if they go to sleep?
I guess.
And that's why they don't want to go to sleep.
In the autopsy of the test result that died on the operating table, it was found that his blood had tripled the normal amounts of oxygen. His muscles were still attached to his skeleton and badly torn. He had broken 9 bones in a struggle, but not to be subdued.
Oh,
most of them were from the force of his own muscles had exerted on them.
When you're so swole that you break your bones.
The second survivor had been the first in the group of 5 to start screaming. His vocal cords destroyed. He was unable to beg another or object to surgery. And he only reacted by shaking his head violently in disapproval. Me too.
No.
When the anesthetic gas was brought near him, he shook his head, and then someone suggested reluctantly that they try a surgery without anesthetic, and did not react for an entire 6-hour procedure of replacing his abdominal organs and attempting to cover them with what remained of his skin.
He's just lying there.
He's like, whatever.
He's like, this is fine.
He's like, I've seen worse.
The surgeon presiding stated repeatedly that it should be medically possible for the patient to still be alive. One terrified nurse assisting the surgery stated that she had seen the patient's mouth curl into a smile several times whenever her eyes met his.
Ew.
Oh.
It's a romance too. Oh, hell yeah.
Okay. When the surgery ended, the subject looked at the surgeon and began to wheeze loudly, attempting to talk while struggling. Assuming it would be something of drastic importance, the surgeon had a pen and pad fetched the patient so he could write his message. It was simple. Keep cutting.
Ew, what?
The other two test subjects were given the same surgery, both without anesthetic as well, although they had to be injected with a paralytic for the duration of the operation. The surgeon found it impossible to perform the operation while the patients laughed continuously.
What? I hate this.
Paralyzed, the subjects could only follow the attending researchers with their eyes.
That's horrible.
The paralytic cleared their system in an abnormally short period of time, and they were soon trying to break their bonds.
Okay, imagine you're operating on these people. You're putting their organs back into their bodies, and they're just watching you. They're laughing and watching you.
This isn't true.
What a loser. Doctors
just, like,
are such nerds.
putting their kidney back in, and they're just like, hee hee.
Kidney. Doctors are nerds. Peace out. The researchers tried asking why they had injured themselves, why they had ripped out their own guts, and why they wanted given the gas again. Only one response was given. I must remain awake.
No, thank you. I
I
don't
need
like
that monster at 2 a.m. All 3 subjects were reinforced, and they were placed back into the chamber awaiting determination as what to do next. The researchers, facing the wrath of their military benefactors for having failed the stated goals of their project, considered euthanizing the surviving subject.
Jesus.
The commanding officer, an ex-KGB, instead saw a potential. He wanted to see what could happen if they put the gas back on.
Oh my god.
The researchers strongly objected, but were overruled because it's Russia. In preparation for being sealed in the chamber again, the subjects were connected to an EEG monitor, EEG monitor, and had their restraints padded for long-term confinement. To everyone's surprise, all 3 stopped struggling the moment it was let slip that they were going back into the gas. It was obvious that at this point, all 3 were putting up a great struggle to stay awake. One of the subjects that could speak was humming loudly and continuously. Humming. The mute subject was straining his legs against the leather bonds with his might. All of it. All of his might.
He's just exercising, dude.
First left, then right, then
Never
left
skip
again.
leg day, bro.
For something to focus on. The remaining subject was holding his head off his pillow and blinking rapidly. You can't listen to this, but I'm blinking rapidly right now. Having been the first to be wired to EEG, most of the researchers were monitoring his brain waves in surprise. They were normal most of the time, but sometimes flatlined. Most of the time. Flatlined inexplicably. It looked as if they were repeatedly suffering brain death. Me too in class. Before returning to normal as they focused on paper scrolling out of the brainwave monitor, only one nurse saw his eyes slip shut. At the same moment, his head hit the pillow. His brainwaves immediately changed to that of deep sleep, then flatlined for the last time as his heart simultaneously stopped.
Wow.
Only one remaining subject that could speak started screaming to be sealed in now. His brainwaves showed the same flat lines as one who had just died from falling asleep. The commander gave the order to seal the chamber with both subjects inside, as well as 3 researchers.
Oh, shit.
3 researchers?
3 researchers.
One of the named 3 immediately drew his gun and shot the commander point blank between his eyes and turned the gun on mute subject and blew his brains out as well.
Hello?
He pointed his gun at the remaining subject and still restrained to a bed, and remaining members of the medical and research team fled in the room. I won't be locked in here with these things, not with you, he screamed at the man strapped on the table. What are you? He demanded. I must know. The subject smiled. Have you forgotten so easily? The subject asked. We are you. We are the madness that lurks within all of you, begging to be free at every moment in the deepest animal mind.
Monkey brain.
We are what you hide from in your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralysis when you go into the nocturnal haven where you
go
cannot
into
be
the
trapped.
nocturnal haven.
The researcher paused and aimed at the subject's head and fired. The EEG flatlined, and the subject weakly choked out. So nearly free. The end.
Wow.
This is actually a creepypasta story. So actually credit to the creepypasta people and not to, well, somewhat credit to Wild Swan.
Wow,
Creepy.
that was horrifying.
That was also very long.
It was very long.
It was pretty hefty, I'm not gonna lie.
That was a thick story.
like oof.
I'm horrified.
I'm just,
You're just chilling.
It was really
In
intense.
Cedar
Honestly,
Rapids.
though, like I wasn't very phased. I just watched It 2 yesterday, and like that movie was so fucked.
I've actually read the story like 2 times before. This is the only
sleep
time I've
story?
really understood it, yeah. It was hard to follow the first time I read it.
Yeah, it was good though.
It's
I
pretty
liked that one.
Kooky.
It's better than the Kyle story for sure.
Kyle.
I think all of our stories had, their own thing to offer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The forest.
The forest. The real horror of that one is that it seems unfinished.
And that he was wearing skinny jeans.
And that he was wearing skinny
They're
jeans.
bloody now.
They're
And Jimmy.
They're bleens.
Friggin' Jimmy with his ginger locks.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Honestly, of course, the ginger is named Jimmy. It's
Ginger.
such a ginger name.
Gingy Jimmer.
Ginger. Yeah.
Okay, should we wrap this up?
Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, that was episode 2. Thanks for Claire for joining us.
Thank you. You'll probably be back, though.
Probably.
Hopefully.
Like-
I kind
likely.
of live in this room, so.
What is
Can
living?
change.
Jeez.
Okay, you're gonna just flood the room with gas. and
Yeah,
I'll
we're
just
gonna have our
frickin'
own
die.
Russian sleep experiment, and then you can have a dramatic monologue.
Maybe you guys will
before
do better
you
in finals if you're awake that long.
Wrong.
Yeah.
It only was good for 5 days.
It-
Then I'll just stop eating
15
my food.
days.
And then when you sleep, you'll die.
Yeah.
So
Just don't. We're gonna confiscate your books,
Okay.
so you don't poop smear.
I can smear shit over whatever books I want to smear shit over. I got Frankenstein right now. When I'm done with that, you better believe I'm smearing my shit on those pages.
Don't do too German textbook. Too much money on that boy.
Well, I can't return it, so I can do whatever I want. So look out for that.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
See you later.
Hope you got scared. I'm scared.
I'm just kind of tired.
Me too.
Well, if you go to sleep, you'll die.
Not if I. Okay, fine. I'm
And
fine with that.
With that, good night.
Adios.
Bye bye.